Day after day, Toothopolis stands behind its beautiful wall of teeth, ever vulnerable to the cavity creeps.
We climb tooth, make hole.
The cavity creeps. I'll call the crest team.
The siren! The cavity creeps must be near our beloved wall of teeth.
Yes, at the upper back molar.
Hurry into the crest mobile.
Hurry, Crest! Protect us!
This is a good spot for a big hole.
We must fight the cavity creeps with our fluoride.
Take this, cavity creeps!
Crest! No! Drat that crest!
Yay! Toothopolis is saved!
The cavity creeps are a constant threat to every Toothopolis.
So you must fight with us.
Have regular checkups.
Watch treats.
And brush after every meal with
R-E-S-T.
So I got very excited when we transferred Winky the Watchman. Supposedly there is a sound version of this and a color version of this. The version that we scanned was from the Oregon archive, which was ultimately from the Mogul Brothers archive, and was distributed for home market use and some educational markets, but it was silent, and they added intertitles. But in watching it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is totally the cavity creeps. And so years ago, we did a project where we digitized 10,000 TV commercials for Duke University's AdViews project, including the almost entire history of Crest. And we did all of the cavity creeps commercials. So if you go to look up AdViews, all one word, and archive.org and Crest, you should be able to find all of them. Very big fan of that, and I wish that we had a sound or a color version of Winky, but I'll take what we can get. Speaking of dental tragedies, here's an American tragedy, and it's actually your American tragedy. So let's find out what that's all about.
This is a picture of tragedy, a tragedy that happens year after year in our great American forest areas. Fire that roars up the valleys to the peaks with the speed of an express train, burning, exploding, sweeping everything in its path, leaving nothing but gray ashes and charred stumps and dead animals, destroying millions of board feet of timber that we need to win the war, wasting millions of man-hours in fighting on the home front, wiping out thousands of acres of timber that hold water for precious electric power and irrigation. But wait, who starts most forest fires? Is it the criminal, the firebug, the enemy agent? No, it isn't. It's the honest, patriotic American, the greatest single cause of forest fires. Last year, he started 170,000 fires, many times more than lightning or criminals or sabotage all put together. Yes, the same man who buys war bonds and contributes to the Red Cross. A man just like you. He doesn't mean to start a fire, but he's careless. He doesn't think. He leaves matches burning. He tosses his cigarette from a car window. He walks off and leaves his campfire smoldering. He doesn't realize how quickly a fire can start, how it can roar up in just a few minutes. And there it is, out of control. Another American tragedy, another careless, happy-go-lucky, patriotic American like you has made Hitler happy. This season, the danger may be greater than ever before in history. This season, all of us, you and the man next door, must make up our minds to prevent this criminal waste of our forests. Put out your cigarette, crush it out on a rock, break your matches in two. Don't throw anything from your automobile. Be sure your campfire is out, dead out. And above all, remember that you are the person who might start a forest fire. You are the person who must be careful. You are the person who must remember that careless matches aid the Axis.
Careless matches aids the Axis. Yeah, there were a lot of films like this that were basically talking about how your bad behavior influences and helps the Axis during World War II, whether it's slacking off at work, allowing pests to devour your victory gardens, hoarding different supplies that are needed for the war effort, all those things. It's your fault. Fascinating stuff. Did I say that my name is Skip and that this is the AV Geeks Lunchtime Streaming Show? If I didn't, I apologize. Let's see. Behind me I have a film set up on the scanner, which I need to write the title. This is Alice, a high school junior. And it's kind of a cinema verite of being a junior in high school in the 60s. Enjoy.
Откройте ваши книги, это урок 20. Откройте ваши книги, это на странице 47. 47. Сюзанна?
Что я приехала сегодня?
Что или...
Где?
Приехал?
Куда?
Куда? Я приехал сегодня. Хорошо, отвечайте, Шарлотта. Надо 2 часа ехать. Хорошо, читайте дальше, Таня.
Я люблю ходить по лесу.
По лесу.
По лесу. Теперь осень. В лесу много грибов. Вот проходит группа молодых девушек из колхоза.
Молодец. Я люблю ходить по лесу. Теперь осень. В лесу много грибов. Вот проходит группа молодых девушек из колхоза. Задайте вопрос.
The Japanese people are of a nature that, you know, anything for the emperor.
Yeah.
And they were all set to, you know, go down to the last man, woman, and child fighting the hated Americans. But, you know, this was based on the idea that we were going to invade. But when shown that we could drop stuff like this on them out of the sky and they're not going to get touched at all, and it's just going to wipe them out in mass, it has a deterrent value there.
That's true.
Besides a political standpoint of showing the rest of the nations that we're not going to mess around with Japan.
Well, what about this? This has been suggested to me, that why couldn't we have wired the Japanese and said, now we have a tremendous new weapon, and at such and such a time we will drop it off your shores. Well, it would do no harm, judge the winds possibly. Couldn't we have dropped the bomb off the shore And they could have seen the effect there?
But the effect is not the same, because these Japanese soldiers with nothing in their hands at all are just come screaming out of the jungles. They're this nature. But they say, okay, go ahead, drop it in the water, kill some of our fish. So what? You aren't going to drop it on our people. You're humanitarians.
Seth?
Well, I can't see where the atom bomb's any more inhumane than the street fighting and the displacement of people in Europe in the long run, because the effect is still on women and children. If we invaded Japan and the street fighting was like it was in Europe, and it was bound to be since they said they were going to hold out to the man, well, the effect would have been felt just as much by women and children as it was by the atom bomb.
You have anything else?
Well, I agree with Mike and Tad, essentially. This whole bit of the honor and all, I wonder how far this would go, because when it gets down right to the individual, I mean, this honor bit is all a part of nationalism type thing, really. And I think that when it gets right down to the individual, I mean, this self-preservation bit, I just wonder how far the honor is going to go.
Yes. How deeply infused is in the
Because it obviously is much greater to the Japanese during the war than it is to the Americans, but I just wonder how far this will go. What was the sequence of Hiroshima and Nagasaki?
Hiroshima was the 6th, Nagasaki was the 9th, wasn't it?
3 days.
Something like that.
What happened between just kept fighting?
It just kept fighting. There was no negotiations anyway. Chuck?
Well, in Alice's point about how far the personal thing about death goes, the honor of death, the kamikaze pilot's a perfect example of that, because he went up just to die for his country, and he was the only one in that cockpit of that plane. And he was by himself, and when they came back, they were ashamed. The kamikaze pilots who would come back, they were ashamed because they hadn't died.
Yeah, look at the nice guys inside Hamburg. They weren't coming.
Alice?
Is that were all of them like that? I know they were raised that way. They were raised that
Shinto is their religion.
Well, that's where Mr. Powers was trained. He was for suicide. Well, let's not, if we're going to talk about fanaticism, let's talk about dropping an atomic bomb. That's far more fanatical.
Oh, that's not
walking off. That's not fanatical.
That's no more fanatical than war to start with.
All right, war is fanatical. How is the atomic bomb any less fanatical than war?
Oh, we've got 3 arguments going on at once. I lost all of them. Now, what were you saying? You were close.
I was saying that the English involved not to let the Germans set foot on the island. It's the same thing. We're going to die to the last man. We're going to fight the Spanish in the villages and the beaches in the hills. It's the same thing.
Well, we'll continue this on, I hope, a cooler Monday. Okay.
No. No, I love you all.
Yeah, 2 bucks.
First, I have a plane that now it would work better if I'd cut a triangle out of this, and maybe I can. I doubt if I can use it, but I'll try. I have a plane. Oh, you're interested? No, it doesn't make any sense. I have a plane that sits out about like this. Okay, can you picture that one? Okay, then I have a plane, if you can imagine it, that is a unit out from the plane of these 2 lines. And it's going to cut 2 units. I'm sorry. And it's going to cut this plane in a line like this.
It's parallel to the Z.
It's parallel to the YZ plane. B is like the ones we've just been doing. I think I'll skip it. It's like the one that that Linda's doing. C. Dave, you want to do C? D? You want to do D? No, okay. And use a backboard if you'd like. I don't know. I want to look at your pictures.
How do you do it? We'll go that way. You got the whole plane, that's the good. That's what I mean, does the plane go into there? What I understand is the value.
You know, I think that really the ones like on 121, 1A, these are the most ones. And can you picture this? 1A on 121, the ones that Sharon did on the board. These are the easiest and probably the most interesting, or more general. And special cases. Now,
that's the next special case. So you just get the 3 points of connected.
You make 2 equations.
The next thing you're going to be doing is you want to work up to the intersection of 3 planes. We're not going to be able to draw very many of these, but I'd like you to see a few of them before we start solving equations. Now, for tomorrow, I won't give you 3 planes, but I'll have you draw the intersection of 2 planes.
Now, one of the things that I want to do today, in order to impress upon you a necessity of preparation, I suppose, as much as anything, just everybody's going to grab one of those little sheets of paper. Just reach right in and take one right out. Just, all right, think about it.
And you better shuffle them first. Thank you. Oh, buddy,
you want it? Oh, really? No. What do you have? What do you have? Kleptomania.
Now, what I'm going to do is this. I'll call on somebody to speak. You will give, say, a 2-minute presentation. Now, in order to encourage you to listen attentively to the speech, following the 2-minute speech, I will call on someone else in the class to give a 1-minute critique either of the speech or the subject matter. Cindy Webster.
One of the ways we judge a person is by the way he speaks. If when Mr. Mason asked us to do these speeches, someone leaned back in a chair and said, "Marty, I can't do this. I ain't never learned speech training before." we sort of have the impression that there's some kind of hick, so probably not from Brown County. And if they said, something like, "Oh, well, I feel that my endeavors will unfortunately be of no avail," we sort of think, "Oh boy, professor's son." In other words, our lives reflect our speech.
Now, as you all know, the poor are poor because they are basically inferior, and the rich are rich because they are basically superior. Now then, what difference does it make? This is the theory of the survival of the fittest as proposed by Charles Darwin.
Thus preventing possible strikes or stopping strikes which may already be going on. These strikes could affect the whole economy of the country. For instance, if there was a strike in the steel industry, This might in turn affect the automobile industry, which would thus affect people who are selling automobiles, people who are buying automobiles, and so it could go in a circle which would eventually affect almost everyone in the country. Therefore, as I said at the beginning of my speech, collective bargaining can help our economy.
All right. Now.
University High School is commonly known as the biggest snob school in Bloomington, Indiana. This is largely because we have so many cliques. Cliques? Cliques. Cliques. This has become very evident in our own class, as for instance, our class meetings. Rob Jeffries may be able to tell us a little bit about this. We have had many clique battles in our class meetings. For instance, we had a meeting about the prom not too long ago, and it seemed that there was a clique, a special six, who had the name of the prom in mind and would not tell. Well, immediately, cliques from all sides rose up against this special six. And as a result, we had a rather disorganized prom. However, it seems that when you're in a clique, you don't notice the bad parts of it. This can be very detrimental to a person's personality who is not in a clique. Those who are not in the larger cliques can feel very, very left out. Those who are in a clique, this can be detrimental to their personality also. They become snobs, as it's commonly put, and they are not very pleasant to be around, as other people have noticed. Conclusion next time. Well, I think that, was 2 minutes out? Okay. Instead of looking inward all the time in our own cliques, we have to look outward to those people who are not involved in our cliques.
Any volunteers to critique? Oh, all right, Rob.
In the first place, we did not have a very disorganized prom.
Now,
Rob, Jeffrey, there's something you better know. I thought that sick, large. Under the conditions which we faced, we had a very organized prom, and we had a very successful.
I'm sorry I wrote down the topic. Dave asked the question, what was the topic?
I honestly didn't ascertain the topic. What was it?
Clique.
That's what I thought at first, and then I thought you were talking about the prom, and then...
Cindy?
Well, I thought she got a little too personal with it.
No.
I know, but I thought, yeah, but you might as well know the names. Everybody knew.
Oh,
I don't think she got too personal.
Well, this brings up a point.
You just
Is it better?
Wait.
Is it better to be direct or be indirect? Donna?
No, I don't either, because that was just the best example in the world, because it was so obvious at that meeting. It's still so obvious. I think it was just perfect.
Cindy?
If she'd been any less indirect, she'd been less direct, you wouldn't have been able to really understand what she was talking about. I mean, it had to be that direct to point out what she was trying to say.
Any other comments on? Okay.
5 seconds.
Don't forget now to bring with you materials to work on in class.
That's the reason I changed it.
Je ne me rappelle pas. Très bien. Maintenant, nous sommes le long des quais. Hélène parle à Jean. Hélène dit, répétez s'il vous plaît. Que regardent ces gens-là le long de la scène?
Que regardent ces gens-là le long de la scène?
Que regardent ces gens-là
Que regardent ces gens-là
le long de la scène?
le long de la scène?
Que regardent ces gens-là le long de la scène?
Que regardent ces gens-là le long de la scène?
Jean continue et dit, ils examinent les étalages des bouquinistes. Ils examinent les étalages des bouquinistes. Alors, où sont les gens? Où sont les gens? Alors, répondez-moi, où sont les gens? Le long de quoi? Oui, oui, et qu'est-ce qu'ils examinent?
Ils examinent les étalages des bouquinistes.
Les étalages de qui? Les étalages des bouquinistes. Hélène dit, des estampes peut-être, mais en général, qu'est-ce qu'ils examinent? Qu'est-ce qu'ils examinent, oui? Les étalages des bouquinistes. Que vendent ces bouquinistes par là? Toutes sortes de choses, oui. Les uns, alors, mademoiselle, les uns vendent quoi? Des estampes. D'autres vendent quoi? D'autres vendent quoi? Monsieur? Des timbres en poche. D'autres encore de vieilles quoi? De vieilles quoi? Mademoiselle? De vieilles pièces de monnaie. Mais la plupart font quoi, mademoiselle? Qu'est-ce qu'ils font?
Ils font...
Ils font le commerce de quoi, mademoiselle?
Ils font le commerce.
Oui, mais de quoi?
Je ne sais pas.
Vous ne savez pas, oui, mademoiselle.
Ils font le commerce des livres d'occasion.
N'est-ce pas, mademoiselle? Des livres d'occasion, ça. Des vieux livres, n'est-ce pas? Des vieux livres, bon, très bien.
They think it was going to be like you go 3 hours long. So they just treat it like some short things down.
Tous les garçons et les filles de mon âge se promènent dans la rue de par deux. Tous les garçons et les filles de mon âge savaient bien ce que c'est qu'être heureux. Et les yeux dans les yeux, et la main dans la main, ils s'en vont amoureux, sans perdu le lendemain. Oui, mais moi, je vais seul par les rues de la montagne. Oui, mais moi.
She's taken 2 foreign language classes. That's crazy. Russian and French. And I got very excited to see American kids learning Russian, given that Soviet Union film that I had where Russian kids were learning English. Really fascinating. These long stretches. This is really... I'm not sure how this would be used and who this would be shown to. But it is kind of an interesting take on what school was like in 1966, the year that I was born. Let's see. What do we want to watch? Let's learn about Solar Max Repair Mission, courtesy of, I believe it was Martin Marietta. Enjoy.
The Manned Maneuvering Unit is the culmination of more than a decade of research and development by Martin Marietta Aerospace. Adopted by NASA as standard space shuttle equipment, MMU gives astronauts the ability and freedom to move around outside the orbiter. The backpack unit is propelled by small nitrogen gas jets that are controlled by the astronaut pilot through controllers on the ends of the unit's arms. In the space environment, astronauts will be able to perform a variety of tasks, including servicing and inspection of satellites and inspection of the orbiter itself. Now fate, in the form of a disabled satellite, may give MMU the opportunity to prove its value in a practical demonstration 290 miles into space. In February 1980, the Solar Maximum mission was launched into Earth orbit. The satellite was designed to study solar flares, the violent eruptions that occur on the sun's surface. Once aloft, SolarMax came under the control of NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center in Greenbelt, Maryland. One of the center's activities, monitoring 7 onboard scientific instruments, would give scientists a better understanding of the sun's explosive nature and its effects on Earth. Then, nearly 1 year into orbit, the $200 million mission was cut short. A fuse failure in the spacecraft's attitude control system sent SolarMax into a slow, unstabilized spin that left 4 of the scientific instruments useless and diminished the effectiveness of the remaining 3. The solution, which will permit SolarMax to continue gathering data, lies with sending the 13th scheduled space shuttle flight on a repair mission in early 1984. Positioning itself near the disabled satellite, the shuttle would engage the spacecraft with its manipulator arm, placing it on a support cradle in the orbiter's cargo bay. There, the failed attitude control system module would be replaced and the repaired spacecraft returned to orbit. The main obstacle to the plan is the spinning satellite itself. It must be stabilized before the orbiter's remote manipulation system can dock with the spacecraft's elusive grapple fixture.
Yeah, don't translate anymore.
The one tool that makes this delicate operation possible is the manned maneuvering unit. At Martin Marietta's Denver Space Center, astronauts working with the 6th Degree of Freedom Space Operations Simulator have developed flight techniques that form the critical link in the SolarMax repair mission. The computer-driven man-rated carriage simulating a gravity-free environment allows astronauts to practice the delicate procedure of attaching a new grapple fixture to the unstabilized SolarMax with the aid of a hand-operated satellite attachment device. With the new fixture in place, the astronaut, working at a distance of 300 feet from the shuttle, would use the MMU's thrusters to steady the spinning spacecraft. The placement of a new grapple fixture is necessary to allow the orbiter's manipulator arm to dock the spacecraft without posing a danger to fragile solar panels. Further thrusting action could also maintain SolarMax in the proper attitude to enable the approaching orbiter to engage the newly placed grapple fixture. Tests at the Martin Marietta facility have proven that MMU is capable of halting a rotation rate markedly higher than the 8 to 9/10 of a degree per second rate experienced by SolarMax. After being secured in the orbiter's cargo bay, the malfunctioning attitude control system module would be replaced with the spare unit for the Landsat D prime satellite. Returned to orbit by the remote manipulator system, SolarMax would again beam to Earth data received by its 7 scientific instruments. It would help scientists expand their knowledge of how energy is built up or stored, what triggers its release and propagation out through the sun's atmosphere to Earth and beyond, and reveal the long-term degradation effects of the low Earth orbital environment.
The SolarMax repair mission presents an unparalleled opportunity to prove the worth of spacecraft that can be repaired on orbit. It also provides an important test of the space shuttle equipped with the manned maneuvering unit. Particularly in today's tight budgetary climate, The ability to repair, refuel, or otherwise service satellites already on orbit is of great value. The combination of the space shuttle's access to both high and low inclination orbits from launch facilities at Vandenberg Air Force Base and the Kennedy Space Center, the MMU provided capability for an EVA crewman to operate independently of the orbiter, and the refinement of EVA techniques marked the opening of a new era in satellite operations and design philosophy.
Marietta, not Marionetta. I really did want there to be marionettes in it, though. Let's see. So that felt like that was a promotional film for that company and was shown to probably shareholders, maybe as a news press release, but also maybe shown to Congress people that were overseeing NASA to kind of say, like, why are we spending so much money with them? Like, why did we just cut them a crazy check? Our space program was pretty much by these giant space contractors. Let's see who. Lockheed, Martin Marietta, Rockwell. There's quite a few. Morton Thiokol. There's a lot of these that kind of came up during the space race. And so that was like, yeah, look what we're doing with your money. See how great we are? Don't audit us. All right, this next film is about exercise and physical fitness. Enjoy.
Runner, a baby Bikila of Ethiopia making Olympic history. A baby Bikila coming through with a first in front of at least 75,000 wildly enthusiastic fans, putting on a fantastic kick toward the finish. A baby Bikila of Ethiopia really pouring it on right now. Just look at him go, ladies and gentlemen. A baby Bikila winning the marathon race in Tokyo. A man who has just undergone an appendicitis operation, a man racing against a tremendous personal physical handicap. The first man to do so in Olympic history, twice in a row. What a finish. A baby Bikila, and he's not even resting, he's not even breathing hard, going through a few exercises here, winning a tremendous race. A 32-year-old guard in Emperor Haile Selassie's palace guard. A baby Bikila.
Over here we have a magnificent marble from the 5th century BC. In the ancient world, there were no heroes to compare with the athletes. The ancient historian Oppian wrote, "An athlete crowned with fresh laurels is beset by boys, youths, and men who conduct him to his house and crowd around him in troops until he crosses the threshold of his home." Plato considered the form of the young athlete to be the most perfect in nature. There was a practical side to Greek athletics, though. Athletics was considered training for military service, so that the athlete who distinguished himself in war was doubly a hero. If all this seems terribly antique to you, and you think that people no longer idolize athlete heroes, but obviously, people exercise for many reasons beside athletics. Generations of students have practiced something called calisthenics in classes with the mysterious name of physical education. Why do people exercise? In the course of this film, we will see exercise for flexibility and relaxation.
Inhale. Bridge pose.
We will see exercise for strength. We will see exercise for agility. And we will see exercise for endurance. But first, let's consider flexibility.
Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Rest. You must relax before you start exercising. Proper breathing is an integral part of all yoga exercises. It is a sort of purification. Inhale. Assume the plow position. Straighten your legs. Bring your knees to your shoulders.
Yoga is an Indian philosophy which is associated with many difficult exercises. They are especially effective for flexibility and relaxation. You must not try these exercises without a teacher. They can actually be dangerous.
This is a twisting movement which will stretch your back muscles. Exhale and down. All yoga exercises have to be counteracted. When you stretch one way, you must stretch the other. To counterbalance the plow, assume the fish position. Inhale, up. Exhale and rest. Now, relax totally. Breathe deeply. It is very important to know how to relax in all exercises.
And of course, this is a bench press or supine press for pectorals, triceps, and deltoids. We've had this program of weightlifting at the high school for several years. It's done in conjunction with running and swimming, which of course are much more important exercises. You know, weightlifting doesn't actually make you any healthier, and most people are surprised to learn that it doesn't add to their physical fitness. Now, this is what we don't encourage, lifting more than you can manage. Most of these boys are football players and need extra strength for that, but the rest like the way it makes them look. And there's that feeling of accomplishment. A lot of boys don't like competitive sports, and there's no reason they should. But the feeling of self-confidence and accomplishment that some get in basketball or soccer, others can get with a program like this. Of course, girls should do this sort of thing too, because so many are under strength. They're not prepared for emergencies. For one thing, a girl with a little more strength will have an easier and safer childbirth.
These are professional circus performers. The kinds of exercises they do every day are designed for agility and strength. Their lives depend on their exercises.
But physical fitness isn't flexibility and it isn't strength. It's about getting energy to muscles, having endurance and not fatiguing easily. When you exercise, energy stores within the muscles must be mobilized. Whenever you perform any sudden or strenuous movement, like standing up or swinging a bat, your muscles have only a split second to convert these chemical stores into energy. But what happens after the small energy stores in your muscles have been exhausted has a lot to do with the oxygen you breathe. In preparing this film, we have asked some physiologists at the University of California to test two athletes. The first athlete, John Davies, is a weightlifter. While he is obviously strong and appears to be fit, we are more concerned with the state of his lungs and heart. Our reasoning is that most energy for contracting muscles comes from oxygen, and that oxygen is delivered by the lungs and heart. These machines are measuring the efficiency of the weightlifter's cardiorespiratory system, which is what the lungs and heart are called.
Turn on your EKG. Okay, anytime you're ready, step on.
At the same time that we test the weightlifter, we are testing a runner, Karen Bolt. Now, obviously, a runner exercises different muscles than a weightlifter and exercises them in different ways. Our question is, which is a better kind of exercise for general good health, running or weightlifting? The runner and weightlifter both begin about the same. Their heart rates are close, though the runner's is a little slower, and their lungs are absorbing the same amount of oxygen. However, very quickly the situation changes. The weightlifter's heart begins beating faster and faster, while the runner's increases very little. This means that the runner's heart doesn't have to work as hard as the weightlifter's. But more interesting than that, as we increase the workload, the weightlifter is becoming tired, and his lungs are absorbing less oxygen, so there is less energy for his muscles to use. Meanwhile, the runner keeps working with little strain. This, in fact, is a common pattern. Weightlifting will strengthen muscles, but it cannot help your endurance nor strengthen your heart and lungs, the muscles that really count. Running, however, along with swimming, bicycling, and especially walking, directly exercises your cardiorespiratory system.
We've seen that your muscles need oxygen to contract. There are two ways in which your muscles can get oxygen. Normally, the oxygen is drawn from your bloodstream. That is one of the most important functions of blood, to carry oxygen to other muscles and tissues. Your lungs supply oxygen to the blood, and your heart pumps the oxygen-rich blood to your muscles, which use the oxygen to power their contractions. Whenever you run or swim or play tennis or do any exercise that makes you breathe hard and your heart beat fast, you are exercising your lungs and heart. But there isn't always time for your muscles to get energy from oxygen. So your muscles can also get energy by breaking down chemicals like glycogen, which are stored in them. When you lift things, for instance, there isn't time for oxygen to get to your muscles from your lungs. When you do any quick or sudden activity, your muscles may get sore. That's because lactic acid is produced by strenuous work. It makes your muscles ache. There is only a small amount of energy available from chemical stores in the muscles. And when you run the 100-yard dash, for instance, they are quickly exhausted. You become tired. But when you run more slowly, your heart and lungs can deliver oxygen as fast as your muscles use it up. When you are physically fit, you may be able to run for hours without becoming particularly tired.
But most of us aren't long-distance runners. What then is the best exercise for keeping fit and mentally alert? Any exercise that makes you breathe hard and your heart pound is exercising your cardiorespiratory system. It has been shown that the safest, most effective total exercise is walking.
was all over the place. Yikes. Yikes. Thanks for tuning in today. We loved all the comments, all the wide variety of different films we showed today. Man, it was all over the map, and that's what I like to do. It tickles my ADHD brain, and I hope that it tickles your brain too. Thanks for tuning in the comments. If you like what you saw, hit the thumbs up or the like button or the notification button. You can also hit the super thanks button, which is something that's in YouTube, where you click a little dollar bill and you can donate to us. You can also donate to us via ko-fi.com/avgeeks. That's coffee.com/avgeeks. Or at patreon.com/avgeeks. And you can just tell other people about what we're doing. Or you can watch other videos that we have been putting online. We've been scanning a bunch of films, not only from Orgone Archives, but also from Craig Baldwin, and also stuff from our collection. So there's a bunch of stuff that we've been uploading and slowly processing. We're not trying to send out too many at one time because it overwhelms everything. But we do it because you guys like it, and I like it when you like it, and I like it. I don't know where I'm going with that. So, actually, I don't just like it. I should say I love it. Everybody have a great rest of your day. Thank you, Jeremy. And we will see you tomorrow. Everybody take care.